Bienvenidos a Taboo Talk Latina Edition. Yo soy Cynthia.
And I'm Jeanette.
And this is where we create a safe space for Latinas to have real, raw, and necessary conversation.
Aquí hablamos de todo lo que nuestra cultura muchas veces no quiere hablar, desde identidad, amor propio y éxito, hasta los tabús que nos han afectado por generaciones.
We are here to break the silence, challenge outdated expectation, and uplift each other through honest storytelling. Because when Latinas come together, we empower each other to grow, heal, and redefine what's possible.
And today we're having a conversation that so many of us can relate to, from beauty standards that pushes us to change our natural features to breaking into industries that weren't built for us. As Latinas, we constantly face pressure to fit a certain mold.
But today we're flipping the script. We're talking about embracing who we are naturally and paving our own path as entrepreneurs and creatives.
And we have the perfect guest to break it all down with us.
Today's guest is a PR and social media marketing expert with over 6 years of experience in beauty, hair care, and wellness. Before launching Thalia Creative Media Consulting, LLC, she led influencer campaigns, product launches, and brand strategies for brands like Rizo Curls, Reina Rebelde, and Bloomy. Now, as a consultant, she helps brands amplify their visibility and connect with their audience through media relation, affiliated marketing, and social media management.
And beyond her career, she's also challenging beauty norms, embracing her natural curls, and inspiring others to do the same. Let's give a warm welcome to Thalia Perez, a.k.a. Tali with the curls.
Oh, I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you. That was an amazing intro.
Well deserved. Beautiful, everything you've done, honestly. Like us,
I'm honored.
Your intro and seeing everything you've accomplished is so inspiring, and we can't wait to dive into it.
Don't
I
make me
know.
cry.
So beautiful. So beautiful.
Yeah, so let's,
Thank you.
yeah, of course. Let's start with something many of us have experienced, the pressure of straightening our hair. Because we all know in Hispanic families, curly hair has always been a hot topic. You hear things like peínate bien or te ves más arreglada con el pelo liso. And for so long, natural curls weren't as seen as professional or elegant, which made a lot of us feel like we had to fit into this beauty standard.
So, Tali, did you ever feel that pressure growing up? When did you decide to fully embrace your curls?
So I fully decided to embrace my curls. I used to actually texturize my hair. So it's like a version of relaxer, but it doesn't leave it as straight. So basically it's for like the kinky part of the front of my hair. So I decided to officially stop back in 2017. And that's when I actually started creating curly hair content as well. So as I started sharing my story, I started to realize I wasn't the only one. So that just propelled me into all these years of creating content, creating community based around just us being able to relate, men and women, of the struggles of having curly hair and people telling us certain things about our curly hair. But growing up, I wore my hair curly the majority of the time. And then, as you probably have experienced, mainly for special occasions, picture days, that's
Yeah.
when like my family or my mom would be like, yeah, let's do your hair. You know, it gets to a certain point when you're a little kid, you're like, I don't want to do my hair no more.
Yeah.
But it was like the easier route most of the time. I feel like maybe our families didn't have the education that now families are having, which I've been able to talk to many parents when they come in my DMs and they're like, what can I do for my daughter or my son? Or how can I help them? Because, you know, kids nowadays love their curly hair. I have a lot of like my followers that come to there like, my child loves his curly hair, but I don't know what to do. So I'm like, okay, I'll get on like a video FaceTime with them on this. What do you do now? Like, give me the lowdown. What shampoo do you use? What do you do when they go to school? Because I can relate to that struggle as a kid. I loved my curly hair and I never understood like why people didn't. But as I know now as an adult, I'm like, it was just they didn't know how to manage it. Even me as an adult now, I'm like, wow, I'm at my peak of learning how to actually love my hair when I have something professional to do. I know exactly what to use to get the perfect wash and go. But talk to me a few years ago, I'd be like, I don't even know what to tell you. Like, Maybe
Yeah.
I'll just tie it up or just go to the salon. And a lot of times people do it out of it being easier.
That
I don't
is,
like feel like
Yeah.
it makes sense, but yes.
no, and I've also, like, I can relate. I don't have the beautiful curls that you have, but I did have friends that they do have the curls, and it was a struggle. Like, they had to go through this step 1, step 2, step 3. And in my head, not knowing, I was like, can you just put like gel and like kind of, pelo rizo? She's like, I wish. But only when you go through it, you understand the struggle. So seeing you and what you girls can go through with that, like, I'm like, there is a lot of steps. It's like skincare, right? Like, there's steps to follow
Yes.
that if you don't, then you're not gonna have the perfect rizos, or you're gonna feel como me decía mi amiga, una leona.
For
Because
real.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, there's so many steps, but once you like, I feel like it's also like an emotional journey. So like, you go from your family telling you all these like potentially negative things, like pelo malo, hidreña, y todo eso. But then when you learn to love your hair that comes out of your hair, you're like, wow, like this is how I was meant to be. And for you to finally perfect how it looks best to you, you're like, wow, you come to this place of like self-love and acceptance, and like there's a true transformation within you where you're like it's just something that you experience. And I tell people this all the time, like, try it and really put the work in to learn yourself, because you're learning your curls, you're learning how your hair is when it gets humid outside, how your curls are in the winter as opposed to the summer, what routine. It is a lot of work, but sometimes you have to do the work, and it's the internal work too, the internal of the people that have told you, well, you think you're going to land a job in a professional career with your curls
Yes.
out. First of all, you should be uplifting me. That's what you should be doing. You should not be trying to pick at what you think are my flaws.
well,
You should be telling me, like, if anything, giving me advice, like this little curl is out of place, move it here and that'll be better. Not straightening your hair, not spend hundreds straightening your hair. I would love to spend hundreds on product as opposed to straightening it. But I love this question because it's also, now you have a generation that we're coming in and they're straight naturals. I don't know if you guys have heard about them. Have you heard about the straight naturals? So it's
and I would
basically,
love for you to fill us in. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah. I've
yeah,
heard about it a little that they want now their hair curly. Am I correct?
no, so it's the
Okay.
opposite way. So straight naturals are usually women or men that have gone through the whole natural going curly process. Like maybe they had damage before, they grew their hair out, they have perfectly healthy hair, and then they've actually realized that now they want it to straighten their hair a lot more, and they're okay with it. Like they've learned that, yes, I can have my hair in a healthy state when it's natural, but straightening my hair is more convenient. So they'll straighten their hair multiple times a week or once a week, and they consider themselves straight naturals. So there's a lot of girls in the natural hair community, and that's what they're saying now. They're like, oh yeah, now that you'll start to hear them. Now
No,
technology's
no,
listening.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll see them. They'll start their little vlogs. They'll be like, now that I'm a straight natural, I'm gonna be straightening you. So you'll see my hair, and you can see they'll start talking about like, yeah, I know that I'll get a little bit of damage, but they are aware that they have the knowledge to deep condition, to do treatments that even if they do have damage, they know they can put a flexi rod and do rock their hair certain times, but a majority of the time it's straight. So I just think
Wow.
it's beautiful that people can pick whatever they want, but they have the knowledge that, yeah, there's things that do damage my hair, but you
Yeah.
know what? This is more convenient for me, and that's okay too. Like, I was on Reddit the other day, and there was girls saying, like, they feel bad that they're going to be judged for even being straight natural. To me, even on my platform, I share when I straighten my hair all the time. In any case, somebody could consider me straight natural at times, because there's been times in 1 month where I'll use heat 3 times. And
Mm.
technically, you're not really supposed to do that in the curly hair community. But think about it. I diffuse with heat. Like if I straighten it, I'm straightening it with a bit of heat. But now there's brands that create products that are for when your hair is curly. That same product, you could use it as a heat protectant. There's a brand called Acoa by two Dominican sisters. Love them. They have a hydrating curl cream. You can use it. I actually have their gel on currently. Their hydrating curl cream curls, beautiful. My favorite product. I also use it to blow dry my hair because it has heat protectant. So it's like brands are realizing as well that we have a duality and we can embrace both.
Yes. That's beautiful. Yeah, I love it. And then, like you said, like before, we didn't have the knowledge. One, we didn't have social media platforms like we had now, right? Because I would have loved to encounter you, right? Like Thalia. I would have loved to encounter you because my hair naturally is curly. And I grew up with a mom telling me that, oh, tiene un pajón, straighten your hair. When I got to corporate America, the pressure was on. I didn't dare leave my natural curls because I thought I was one, probably going to get fired, or they weren't going to pick me for certain jobs because of my looks. So throughout my entire corporate life, my hair, I was always straightening it. So to have the knowledge that we have now and the social media platforms that we have, I'm so thankful for this new generation that is coming up because they get to see this, they get to explore and say, no, I can leave my natural hair and not be ashamed of it.
I love that. I think my favorite content is the little girls with their moms. I follow so many accounts where it's the little girls. And those little girls are like, yeah, mom, I want two ponytails here and with the curls. I'm just like,
No, so
I
cute.
love this. Like just the amplification of just loving yourself for who you are and not having to change because of somebody else's opinion. If your opinion is that you feel better and you love straightening your hair, go for it. But
Right.
have the knowledge that it can cause damage and there's ways to keep it healthy.
Yes, no,
I
I
have
love that. And there's a shift happening now where more of us, like we spoke about, are embracing our natural textures. But Dali, do you think we've completely broken out of that stigma?
I would love to say we have, but I definitely think we haven't. I think now is that people are more like you go into setting and it's still it's not the normal. Because when you walk in with your curls, a lot of times, oh my God, like they're like shocked. Girl,
Lost.
oh, like how do you do that? And I like that feeling, but it's also like but when I go into other stores, sometimes like my own experience, I see more curly girls, and I'm like, I love your curls, but when you're in a professional setting, it's more like a shock. Like there's a shock effect, but they're like, I like it, like because now on TV, when growing up, I always tell my boyfriend like I barely seen commercials with women with textured hair, kids with textured hair.
Yeah.
Like I
Right.
never remember seeing that when I was little, and now I see commercials the little girls are running around with curly hair. The main character of the commercials have curly hair. The main people of like shows. So like it's the things that are ingrained in us. A lot of times, like you're watching those examples, like you may not think about it, but your brain is taking it in and you're like, oh well, that's what's more acceptable. It's on TV. So
Yeah.
now we're getting to the point where yeah, they're casting people with naturally curly hair. So it's less of a shock factor and it's more like, oh, I'm intrigued. Like, how did you do that? What did you use? Oh, and all these corporate girlies that think that they have straight hair and they're realizing that they actually have waves, that the only reason that their hair is bone straight is because they have damage. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've
Yes.
worked with the brand Rizo's Curls and there's tons of what Julissa, the founder, will call undercover curlies. And we've done plenty of content where she's like, I know you have curly hair. Let's try it out. And you put a couple products in there, you give them a good wash and some like wave, like creating spray, texture defining. Boom, their waves, they're like, oh my God, this reminds me of when I was a little girl.
Oh,
Yes, I
Takes you
love
back
that.
to the childhood self and you're like, wow. It's just something in your heart. Like it reminds you of just looking at yourself in the mirror when you're a little kid and you're like you see yourself for the first time.
no, and I love that you share that because sometimes you don't know. Like when you don't understand, because that's not my field and I don't struggle with the curls. I remember when I was going to the hair salons growing up, they would always ask me, is your hair thin or thick? Right. When I was trying to get a consultation. And I was like, I think it's thin. When I will get there, they're like, it's actually thick. And they'll explain why. But because I see it like, I don't, no tengo mucho pelo, right? I feel that it's thin, but then as they are blow drying it or they're dyeing my hair, they're like, girl, tú tienes mucho pelo. So, no, you don't have it thin. So it's also the perspective on of the things, how we see it, but what we don't educate ourselves on.
And they charge you more. They're like, oh,
Yes.
man, like what, man?
Oh, it is true. Knowing makes a difference and you can save money too.
Yeah.
So, Tani, now that we've talked about these struggles, what's an advice that you'd like to give to someone today that's trying to embrace their natural hair, whether it's curls, the straight hair, and they're going through either the family pressure or the society expectations of like, well, everybody now that's making it has curls, right? Like the perspective, right? So what advice can you give to those women right now?
Truly sit with yourself in silence, turn off the noise, turn off the computers, the technology, and really sit with yourself. And sometimes it takes like writing things down, like, or just looking yourself in the mirror and just thinking like, what really makes me happy?
Yeah.
Not what my abuela y la tía and my boss. Like, I remember going into my agency job, like I had just cut my hair pixie and I did like, there's probably a YouTube video out there, but I was crying on YouTube, crying because I thought people weren't gonna accept me just because I cut my hair. And I was already natural and just a pixie cut. Like it broke me down. But even just sitting there doing that YouTube video, it was like healing. I was like, I don't need to cry. Like, I need to embrace this. I need to, like, stand up tall and, like, stand up for what I feel is right, or how I feel beautiful. Because once you show up in your full self, everything aligns.
That was
Yeah.
beautiful. And
Yes.
it's a message that somebody will need to hear today because of the struggle. It's not just the beauty that makes a difference, but also embracing who we are and what truly makes us happy at the end. If you love your curls, by all means. If you want to straighten it, by all means. If you want to wear extensions, if you want to cut your hair. And I think that's the battle that we all as women face daily because of social media and our family pressure of nuestras raíces, right? Being Latinas, how we should look or the way that we should dress, etc., that affects us day by day. So that was beautiful.
I feel like a lot of times people are struggling in silence
Yeah.
because of
Mm,
other people's perspectives, but no longer struggle in silence. Like, put that shit to bed. Like,
mm.
be happy. And I don't want to curse, but that's what people say. Like, forget that. Like, just be happy with yourself and what makes you happy.
And find a
Love
community
it.
like Tali, right? That girl,
Community is
learn about
important.
yourself, learn about what products are right for you, and look for that community because wherever you're struggling, I know there's a community out there that's going to help you for sure.
Yes. And having these conversations, right, is so important because, like we said, we're talking about this and discussing this, but someone is gonna hear this and they're gonna be like, you know what? I can leave my natural curls. Like it's okay. So I love that we get to invite you and that you get to talk about this. And we're breaking these taboos. So I love it.
Yeah.
Yes. And we're going to dive into our second topic. So now let's get into creating our own paths. A lot of us grew up thinking that stability meant staying in a traditional job, but more and more Latinas are breaking that mindset and building their own business.
So, Tali, you left corporate to become a full-time freelancer. What made you take that leap? And what was the hardest part about stepping on into entrepreneurship?
So I took the leap, but it was more like I was pushed into it.
That's the best
I was like,
way.
I know.
No, truly it is. In the moment, you're like, why are you pushing me? But then you're like, okay, this was what I was kind of already wanting to do. And it just like pushed me in the direction that I was already trying to head. So I was at an agency and after 6 years, basically the founder told me she was closing it down and I was heartbroken and and immediately I started applying for like full-time positions. And keep in mind, this was like 3 months ago. So like late December. So this is like pretty
Wow.
fresh. But in my like journey of applying full-time, I started to like talk to my clients that I had from the previous agency and they were like, we still want to work with you. And I was like, it just felt like a true testament to the hard work that I've put in over the years. So I was like, okay, so let's work. So I started my own consulting agency. I started LLC. The whole thing of creating a business is like a whole nother like journey that I've never been on and I'm fully embracing. But it's been 3 months in and it feels like this is feeling good. Like I'm taking on clients, which is great. I'm being able to still connect with my previous clients and continue doing work and creating community within those clients, which is also so beautiful. But entrepreneurship, because I've worked with founder facing brands, it kind of feels like natural, which sounds weird, but since I've seen it replicated before, I'm like, okay, like I'm able to do this. So it's like these founders, exactly what they're doing. I like, even when I talk to my clients, I'm like, are giving me the blueprint without even knowing.
Yeah.
Like, you're leading the way, and just seeing you run your business is helping me create my business.
Beautiful.
I love you, Thalia. Like, I love you. So I think it just goes back also to community, how you were saying, like, find your community. Because I started in 2017 with the curly hair community, I've been able to continue building my community, and then helping that in turn has helped me help my clients build community. And I've known the back end, how much work it takes to actually connect via social. So I think it's really like helped propel my business, and it's helping me get more clients. So I find it good. And so far I'm loving it. I can't wait to continue.
Congratulations. And I
Yeah.
love that how honest and real you are, that you were pushed to do it, because I feel that a lot of times, all of us, we wait for like the perfect moment, or for you to get laid off from a job to like, well, let me consider this now my step to move forward. But sometimes you just need to be pushed into the unknown, right? And that's where magic happens. Like, look at your story, right? And I'm sure that within a year, we're going to touch base on this and you're going to be like, girl, I'm blowing up, right?
Yes.
Already are. But it's just beautiful to see it all unfold in such a short amount of time. And that's inspiring.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurship is like glorified a lot, right? But we know that being your own boss isn't always easy. I always like to tell Jeanette, it ain't for the weak. Like, it's not. So what's something you wish more people knew before like taking this path?
No, you're gonna have to do a lot of research, a lot of reading, a lot of Googling on Google, like,
Google
give me the
away.
answers. But then also, like, do your research. Like, a lot of people think they want to start a brand. A lot of people think they want to be forward facing in their brand. Like, yeah, I'm doing consulting, so obviously it's just me, so I am forward facing. But there's people that want to start a hair brand. They want to start, but it's really, do you have it in you to actually be the face of the brand? Be the one, social media now calls for you to be the one that packs the packages, the one that does the social content, the one that's funny, the one that does the accounting, the one. You wear so many hats. And
Yeah.
when I speak to all of my clients, they're just like, which is reasons why they bring me on. They're like, I cannot do it all alone. And I think that's the most important part to take away about being an entrepreneur. Yes, you're alone in it. You're the entrepreneur, but you have to learn when to give up some control. Hey, I'm not efficient, or maybe you just don't like doing accounting. No, you're going to have to invest in an accountant. Hey, I don't like doing contract. I'm going to have to hire someone to do contract. It's okay to give, especially in the beginning. I think it's very important to know like when to give up some of the work.
Yeah, knowing
No,
when
it's so
to
true.
delegate is very important because you delegate, for example, the accounting part because that's just not your thing. That's not your niche. And then you're able to have more space to do what you really know what to do. So delegating in a business is so important.
And you avoid burnt out, because I've
Yes.
connected with a lot of women own small businesses. And the one thing that I always hear and why they quit, it's because I felt overwhelmed. I was stressed out. I couldn't do it on my own. And like you were saying, Tali, they were doing everything, like the shipping, the product, the running around.
Product
And
development.
yeah, because they're like, well, I don't have enough money yet to hire a team. Well, it's not about hiring an entire team and build an office overnight. But it's like you said, little by little, okay, who are the people that right now can help me, so then I can really pour into my brand, my business, and make the money that I need to continue to hire more.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that is so important. And it's hard to find. But again, building that community, but also knowing within you what you need to do, those are things that I believe would also help you. And like you said, finding within you like what you really need to get done. Because I feel a lot of times that you want to open a business, it's not just any business. It's like, what are you called to do?
Yeah.
And
And
I
then you're called to pick up the phone, but then they're like, hey, we also need you to like be on social and hold it like this and do a little dance for TikTok. And it's like, how can I do it all? And it's true. Sometimes you can't. Like, even me with a business, I'm like, now I have to promote myself. And I'm like, my brain is like divided into like 5 people.
especially as
Yeah.
women, right? I always go by the phrase that says, I know we're women, we can do it all, but we don't have to,
Yeah.
Exactly.
because we feel that we're women. Yeah, Wonder Women. We're gonna like run through everything because we can, and we don't want to ask for help. but then that's where everything falls apart.
But I also find that like a lot of times you think, oh, it's my brand, so I want like to be the thought leader, that there's that. But I've gotten into like some of these new clients that I have, like when they have a team, even if it's just another consulting agency, when 3 or 4 people come together, it's magical. Like,
Yes.
no, you have no more brain fog. You're like, wow, everybody has all these creative ideas. You're all flowing. And it may just be about a post. And you're like, wow, that post did amazing. But it's
Right.
because we were all able to communicate about it and really help that founder bring it to life. And then the founder is like, you see the ease on their face and you're like, my job is done.
Yeah.
That guys, or build a team and have your company for that purpose, to help other entrepreneurs be able to make it happen in their brand. But I think it's just something within us that we just want to do it all. And then we question why we're not being successful or why we're not able to move forward, because we can be a team player. And maybe
Yeah.
To be honest, I feel like that, not to interrupt, but I feel like that comes from us, like our childhood, seeing our moms, aunts,
Yeah.
grandmas do it all. And like as children, we didn't really understand what that meant and the amount of brain capacity that took. But it's all breaking those like stigmas and like, you don't have to do it all. Your partner is there to help you, not to just estar sentado ahí viendo televisión, like, come chop these onions.
let's get to
come."
work. No, in fact, I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's so true. Like, at least in my family, there was no like entrepreneurship. I feel I'm one of like the first ones to actually like say, I don't want a corporate job. I did that. This is what I'm meant to do. This is what I'm called to do. And I feel that it's hard because when you grew up in that household of like, my mom doesn't believe, and I've said this before in other calls, in housekeeping. Like, she's like, lo hacemos nosotras. Like, if I hire a housekeeper, she said, uy, como hay dinero. And it's nothing to do with that. It's because I know my priorities. And if I don't do that, then I'm going to be investing 2 hours that I can be investing on my business or my kids or other things that need my priority. But it's that kind of that shift, right, of how we grew up. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I know as Latina, that's powerful.
I love when family says stuff like that. Hay dinero. Sí, hay dinero para eso. Like, you have to have the conversations. And honestly, it takes making people feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was
Like,
just going to say
I
that.
think people don't realize they're making you feel uncomfortable with that. A lot of times we like brush it off and we're like, silent, like, I'm not going to say nothing to not upset people. It's the day and age to start upsetting people, because you know what? Those words upset me. Are you trying to say I don't got money? I do have money to hire someone that's going to alleviate and bring in more capital into my business. Yes. And I think a lot of times it's hard to have those conversations because maybe we're not fluent. Like I would admit sometimes I'm not as fluent, but since I've been like more with my family now, I'm able to like have that like courage. I'm like, I'm gonna find all the words that I need to say to tell you about me and myself and how you're gonna talk to me, because I'm not gonna let you put any of that on me, because I know it's just an old mentality. And a lot of times they don't even care about what you're saying. So even if you do hurt people's feelings,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what are you gonna do about it? We all grown. We're not little kids anymore. You're gonna tell me you're upset, and then I'm gonna be like, why you're upset? Okay, so it seems like we need to heal some generational trauma. I turn into the therapist real quick. I'm like, you have
I
some
love it.
childhood wounds.
Let's sit down.
Yeah.
Let's talk more. I love it.
For real.
And it's funny because they don't fully understand. And then when you do that, when you confront them and you're trying to explain, you're disrespecting them, because that has happened to me. I've been in corporate America. I'm a full-time tax accountant, and I've taken different avenue. I was a doula for 2-3 years. So I'm a very creative person. And then now I have this project, and I try so hard to explain it to my mom, and she just doesn't comprehend why I want to leave my tax job and do this full time. It just doesn't. And when I try to sit her down and fully explain it to her, and not in a disrespectful way, I'm like trying to explain it to her. Yeah. She thinks that I'm disrespecting her. So it's just so hard to like connect those dots, because that generation, they're just different. They were just built different.
For sure. Like, that's the nicest way to say it. Built different. And I definitely believe the brain capacity is just, and you can't fault them at the same time. I think I'm always one of those person that like, type of people that sees it both ways. Like, I can definitely see why they are thinking things the same way. They were looking things up in an encyclopedia, like, let alone not having this encyclopedia or the access to it or the funds to have it. Some of them haven't even seen the amount of saving, the amount of generational change, the different types of relation. Like, I get it. They haven't experienced the same things we have. So it's like, also giving them grace, but also telling your story.
Yeah.
That is true. Oh my gosh, that's so powerful because it's so hard, but we have to, like Cynthia said at the end, we can't take it personal. And we need to understand that it's nothing to do with us, it's to do with them.
Exactly.
You know, that we will do our best explaining and kind of letting them know where we're at. But if they don't want to understand or they still judge us, then that's not on us. We got to keep moving forward because, como uno siempre dice, ellos vivieron su vida. We're grateful. We are here because of them. But now is our turn to embrace our story and rewrite it. And that's where the beauty comes. I love this conversation. I don't want this to end. But before we go, we have to ask, because you know we can't end an episode sin.
Yes, because let's be real, todos tenemos una, the one that always has something to say about your career, your hair, or your life choices. So, Tali, what was the last thing your tia chismosa told you?
I don't know what it is, but like
Marita.
ever since I started creating content, my tia has everything to say about what I should use on my hair. She also has curly hair, but she never really embraced it until like we all started embracing it and like culturally and stuff. And she's always like in my DMs like, you should use this or you should do this hairstyle. So she's always in the best way trying to give me advice on how to do content. And I'm like, I love this. Like, mándamelo, please. Because I don't need to be, because, you know, they get different types of content than us. So when she sends me things, I'm like, that's interesting that you got fed that content.
That is true.
And I watch it fully. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this hairstyle. Like, yeah, I think your followers will really like it. I'm like, thank you.
I love it. And I love it that she's watching, right? Because sometimes we think they're not, but they are. They're watching.
They're watching and commenting.
Yeah.
Like, she'll be like, I remember early on, like, in my content career, like, people would be like, oh, like, I suffer from eczema. So, like, I had, like, red patches. Why you have, like, red patches on your face? Do not talk to my niece like that. She has eczema. Like, she's clapping back after comment. Like, chill, Pia, chill.
That's wonderful. That's so beautiful. And it is true because we always look at the negative aspect of it, you know, because we know how the family is, but we always do have La Tia Chimosa in a positive way, which, you know, trying to help us and embrace who we are. And like, I support you, no le hagas caso a the haters. That's my stepmom. She's like, you do what you do, no le hagas caso a los haters, que mira tú, puf, lo borras y ya. And I was mejor no lo borres, mejor déjalo ahí para que la gente, you know. And I'm just like, it's so true. And
the new generations of tias, they're movers and shakers. They can be promoting you on Facebook.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
that is true.
You be the WhatsApp.
Yes. I love it. Oh my gosh, Daddy. This conversation has been so real and so necessary. Thank you for sharing your story and for joining us today. Before we wrap up, what's one final message you want to leave for the world?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. To the women and men, because I have a lot of guys on my platform that follow me, are embracing their natural texture, and I find that beautiful as well, because it's just a full circle. I feel like I want to remind everybody to continue loving yourself in all aspects, whether it be your careers, your passion, even just deciding to go natural, to start the gym, just really do everything full force, give everything 100%, and things will work out.
It's beautiful.
I love it. And now, before we leave, we would love to, you know, if you can share your platforms, all your social media platforms, and any new projects that you have coming up. We will include it in the show notes, but if you can just share any new projects you have.
Yes. So if anyone's looking to connect with me about natural hair, lifestyle, thrifting, I'm a chatter and I love chatting. So you can follow me on Thalia with the Curls on Instagram and TikTok. And then on the professional level, I also love chatting and creating community and launching products and doing events. And you can follow me at Thalia Creative Media Consulting. So both platforms are linked. I have a website if you want to have a consultation for the free. The first one is free. And we'll just chat. If you're looking to build community, I'm your girl.
So wonderful. This conversation was so needed, and we know so many mujeres and men will be able to relate. So thank you, Thalia, again. And to our listeners, we want to invite you before we leave to join us for La Jarrito Taboo Life on Instagram. It's a fun, unfiltered space where we dive into rapid, funny questions. We'll laugh, we'll keep it real, sin filtro y sin pena.
Yeah, so don't miss it and make sure to follow us for more conversation like these. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, and make sure to subscribe to our channel. Nos vemos en el próximo episodio de Taboo Talks Latina Edition. Thank you so much, ladies. Bye.